Today we're driving the 2021 Infiniti QX80. We are in a Premium Select, which costs about $76,400. It's powered by a 5.6-liter V8 that makes 400 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. That's mated to a 7-speed automatic. We have a 2-speed transfer case, 4 high, 4 low, locking center diff, off-road modes, a tow mode, a snow mode. Basically, this is just a nicer, more luxurious Nissan Patrol. And it's quite nice. We've driven one of these a couple years ago, and this 2021 model honestly hasn't really changed that much. They've added Apple CarPlay, and I don't know, this whole QX80 is going on about 11 years of its life cycle. So a little old in the tooth. We'll get that out of the way first. But still, I think a relevant SUV. If you're looking for something that can tow, this can tow 8,500 pounds, and it's pretty spacious on the inside as well. It looks a little bit like a beluga whale, but that's okay. You kind of know that going in. They've done a few things to improve the styling over the years. It definitely has some off-road capability, some off-road chops. Maybe not as much adjustability as the Land Cruiser, but it can definitely mob through some sand dunes. You have a third row. Put these seats up here to show you guys what it looks like. All the powered seats, the powered tailgate, they have a sense of drama to them because they really take their sweet time going up and going down. There we go. A little bit of room back there, pretty usable. Not as much as you would get in an Escalade or any of the US long wheelbase offerings like the Navigator. Oh yeah, we're just going to show all this in real time to show you guys how painfully slow everything operates. Yeah. One thing to note about the rear tailgate is that the loading height is very high. If you're used to a lifted SUV or truck loading things up into that, then you'll be pretty used to this QX80. We have a very nicely appointed interior, lots of leather, beautiful wood grain. These seats are incredibly comfortable and soft. Not a ton of adjustability, but they do the job. And of course, we have a very spacious and roomy back seat with 2 captain's chairs. A couple of nice cup holders here. A really big center console. Almost as big as the front one. And, there we go. You can even open up this front center console from the rear, which is very cool. Rear climate control, a couple of USB ports to charge your devices. Yeah, that's about it. Let's see how flat these seats fold. There you go, you get easy access to the third row. And they fold relatively flat, it's just an angle upward. I do like what they've done with kind of this black chrome around the front grille. These 22-inch wheels are a little bit excessive, though they are forged, which is pretty cool. But I would like to see one of these on a smaller set of wheels with some off-road tires, maybe a little bit of a lift. That would be proper. Let's take this QX80 for a drive. We'll test the Bose audio system and show you guys what this thing's all about. I do like this dual screen setup. It's actually quite nice for certain situations. So you've got your reverse camera up high, and then when you're driving and you set off, you can look at your Apple CarPlay, but also control your music. So let's say you want to look at Apple CarPlay but listen to satellite radio, you can do that, which is fantastic. We have a super high driving position. This thing is absolutely massive. I look over to the passenger side door and I'm not used to being in a space this large. It's definitely takes a little bit of getting used to. Great visibility though throughout. Even looking through the rear view mirror, I can see pretty well what's around and behind me. The side mirrors do a nice job too. Ride quality is very well composed. It's not necessarily a sporty handling vehicle. It rides and drives about how you would expect, but over some of the harsher bumps, it's pretty nice. It feels pretty good even on these 22-inch wheels. Overall, I'm very impressed with the just general smoothness and refinement here in this QX80. This definitely feels like a luxury SUV at that $60,000 to $80,000 price point. The 7-speed automatic is great. It does a nice job giving you the gear you need when you need it. It's definitely more power and towing oriented than it is efficiency oriented, so it's not trying to always shift to the tallest gear, which I do appreciate. Over really rough pavement, sometimes the suspension can get a little bit unsettled. But for the most part, the ride quality here is really nice. We have lots of really nice buttons and knobs for everything. Some of them are a bit of a reach, but I do appreciate that Infiniti hasn't hidden everything inside the touchscreens and the infotainment. We still have physical buttons that we can access our climate control menu, see our audio, our radio, go home. Lots of climate control buttons and knobs as well. There are two versions of this QX80. You can get rear-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. We are, of course, in the four-wheel drive model. You're going to take a little bit of a hit with fuel economy, but I think if you're going to be getting an SUV like this with the off-road capability that it has, you might as well go for the four-wheel drive. You do have to turn off lane keeping assist every time you get in, otherwise it'll beep at you all the time. And Nissan's safety systems, they work okay. Radar guided cruise control does a pretty good job, though it does feel a little bit old school, a little bit aged. These aren't the newest safety systems in this QX80. We only have heated seats, no cooled seats. We do have a heated steering wheel though, over to the left. And this V8 sounds fantastic. Reasonable turning radius for such a large SUV. And something that you don't really feel much anymore in modern cars is you can actually kind of feel the engine RPMs through the steering wheel. You get a little bit of steering feel through that, which is quite nice. There's a little bit of body roll around corners, but actually this handles just fine for the size and the weight. It does a pretty good job around the corners. Plenty of power from this 5.6 liter. It sounds good too.
Police reported it.
Manually downshift gears too. It'll give you a little bit of a blip from the throttle. Seems pretty responsive. That's fun. And it looks like it'll hold the gear at redline. The most useful consumer advice here on the TheTopher channel. I could just listen to this V8 all day long. It sounds awesome. Oh yeah.
Police reported ahead.
Well, that's what it's like to hustle around a QX80. It's about how you would expect. Nothing special, nothing super fast or exciting. I think the LX570 feels quicker, and it's probably got a little bit more horsepower to boot, but it definitely feels like you're driving something that's got just that much extra power behind it that you can really accelerate out of corners. Though there seems to be less drivetrain intervention in this QX80. There's a little bit of stiffness from the four-wheel drive system when you're really hustling a Land Cruiser around, whereas this doesn't quite experience that, especially on transitions or tight turns or fast reactions. Show you guys a little acceleration here. It's definitely an engine that likes to rev. Most of its power is past 4,500 RPM, and there's a good amount of torque, but sometimes it just doesn't quite have the gearing to give you that torque at low speeds. Once you get up onto the highway though, and you've got some speed under you, it has a good amount of power. Let's put it into tow mode and we'll see what that changes. Quicker shifts for sure. I really like the blips on downshifts. Gives this a little bit of a sporty feel. Oh yeah, tow mode definitely wakes things up. Yeah, I am actually impressed with this QX80's road manners. It does quite a nice job. Thank you. Quite a nice job managing daily driving scenarios despite its weight. Sometimes big heavy SUVs that are up in the 5,600, 5,800 pound weight levels, they can't quite handle, and this does a pretty nice job. So let's go over some of these safety systems. Radar guided cruise control is very easy to operate. The buttons are pretty easy to get used to once you start using them, and easily change your following distance. Lane keep assist is a little bit annoying. I have to turn it off every time I start up the car, and it just will kind of beep at you when you get outside the lines. There's no really high-tech lane centering system. Blind spot monitoring works well enough. You get a little light that shows up right here in the mirror. But otherwise, the cruise control and all the safety systems feel a little bit old school, much like the rest of this QX80, but I think they work well enough. I mean, they've done enough updates to this QX80 to keep it pretty relevant. You get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you get your radar guided cruise control, and I think that's what most new car buyers are looking for at a minimum. So, good to know. The other thing about this QX80 is for the amount of interior volume versus exterior size, it's a little bit less space efficient than the QX60, for example, just because it is a body-on-frame SUV. But if that's okay and that works and you're looking for something with more towing and off-road capability, this is a pretty good option. You're definitely going to pay a little bit more for fuel over your lifetime ownership costs, While we're just cruising around here, let's listen to this Bose audio system. Bringing fake mirrors back there for a sec. Alright guys, well, the Bose audio sounds really nice. It's funny, some Bose systems in cars sound just okay, and some really stand out, and this is one of those that stands out to me. It's a pretty nice system, sounds pretty good. A lot of high points to this QX80. It's comfortable, it's plush, it rides well, it has a lot of capability on and off road. You can definitely see where it's showing signs of its age. Some weird little panel gaps here and there, but for the most part, this is a pretty nice SUV. I think if you can get past the looks of it, it's a pretty nice driving vehicle, and it comes in a little bit under some of the competition as far as price goes. So anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. We will see you in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching. Take care.